Hello, and it's that time again this week for another painting on Flowworks. Just before we get started, this was last week's painting. I think it sort of turned out really good. In last week's video, I got to test these two new paints and I've got to say really impressed with them. The silver has really thick body to it, gives us some lovely sheen and sort of reflection to it. Can't recommend that enough. And we were mucking about with these other two as well by the same company. So I'll put links in the description below where I got these from so you can go and pick these up yourself. Back to this week then, we're going to come down with this canvas, put a brand new canvas up on the wall, and we're going to get painting and we're going to see what we come up with this week. First up, this week's going to be slightly different. I want to try a little bit more abstract again. Going to come away from the seascapes this week and going to try something a little bit different. I've used this in the past. It's plasterer's jointing tape. It's a tape that you put between two pieces of plasterboard and fill the gap with plaster. So I've used this tape in the past on a painting to create some texture. I think this is going to be like a 2 or 3 session painting. I doubt whether I'll get all this done in one go because I want to sort of overlap some of these colours. But yeah, we're going to try and add sort of quite a bit of colour into this piece. I've pre-mixed up. We're going to start off with some blue, grey and some white, and I just want to try and get that base background texture down. So what I'm initially doing is I'm just getting the paint onto the canvas and I'm painting it in the direction that I've laid the tape. I've actually been painting quite a bit with a paintbrush recently, which is not like me. I'm normally a palette knife kind of guy. Wow, did I just say that? Just going to darken this middle section up a bit. Some of this tape I've finished short, some I've run all the way down, but there's a couple of areas that I've just finished short. But the idea behind this is, yeah, a 3 session painting. We're building up those layers, creating that sort of depth in this piece. I'm proper eager to see how this one's going to come out. In this 4th section, mixed up a bit more of a grey colour, and to get that I just added some burnt umber into the mixture. I just want to try and make it a little bit lighter. Again, don't worry about too much colour at this stage. It's going to have quite a few layers over this, so you'll start to get that effect that you want. Okay, I'm just going in a little bit heavy now on some lighter whites over the dark areas. And again, it's just holding the brush at this angle and just swiping up. Right, that stage is complete. We're going to peel off the tape. We're probably going to let that dry, and we're going to come back and we're going to add that sort of 2nd session to this painting, which will hopefully sort of start to get that depth into it. So this tape, the paint bleeds through and underneath it. Don't worry about it. It's just sort of creating that textured effect to the actual painting. So yeah, I think it actually works really well. that is all the tape off of this piece. Really excited to get stuck into that second session. As I say, the paint does leak underneath that plasterer's tape, but don't worry about it. It is just an effect that you're trying to go for. And once you sort of build up on those layers, it will be there, but sort of subtly in the background. And I've got to say, I'm really excited for session number 2 in this piece, see how this one starts to develop. That first layer of paint is completely dry. So I've applied masking tape either side of the original masking tape line, and I've applied sort of a design of how I sort of see this one turning out. So I want to whack some colour in here, down here, and then we're going to take all the tape off, and then I think I'm going to use that as a pattern to then feed in my colours into this piece and sort of build up on it. I've also got some of that plasterer's joining tape as well, which I'm going to apply a little bit more paint onto just to get that effect, because yeah, it's really come out well where I applied it before, so that's really good. Right, let's get onto it. So I've fed those dark areas in. I'm now going to go over the plasterer's joining tape, probably with some white and just picking up really loosely on that. Let's drag it down. I've just mixed up some blue, yellow and green, and I'm just going to go over that tape hanging about there. Well, now we're going to take the masking tape off, and it should start to come alive. We've done a bit more taping off, but everything's still a bit wet, so I'm just going to feed this in.
Last night, running that shit, man. Running that shit last night. Running that shit, man. Running that shit last night. Running that shit, man. Running that shit last night. Running that shit, man. Running that shit last night. Running that shit, man. Running that, 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 running that shit, man. Running that shit. Running that. Running that shit. Running that. Running that. Running that shit. Running that. Running that shit. 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 Running that shit.
Okay, so we're there with the lines that I've got in. Now we need just a little bit more contrast, but in a bigger format, I think. So I'm going to blast some white down in this area here, and possibly in this sort of middle space, and then introduce some dark sections, and then I think the piece will be finished. So we're going to use a roller. This is just one of those hard rollers that you can get off of Amazon. Loading it up with paint, and then I'm just going to follow one of these lines up.
Have you ever fallen out of love? We hide and play dumb or change the station to push turns into shove. We get so clever at covering it up. Everyone knows our hearts in their holes. There's water in the boat. Bittersweet words dancing in my mouth, but I can't get them out. Truth is I'm tired of lying to myself. I've been trying to figure out what went wrong. Or was it wrong all along? Truth is I'm tired of lying to myself. I've been trying. You ain't.
We're slowly getting there. That roller really helps. It sort of blends in the colours, picks up on the colours, and sort of puts a transition over the top of all those lines that you put in, so it really starts to sort of feel like a piece. I'm just going to try and lose some of the heavy green area. I just feel it's a little bit too green for me, so I'm going to come straight down with a roller, straight over the top.
But we're not saying much. Baby, almost could never be enough. Thirsty for more, the wine that you pour is poison in my cup. Bittersweet words dancing in my mouth, but I can't get them out. Truth is I'm tired of lying to myself. I've been trying to figure out what went wrong. Or was it wrong all along?
Wet this corner. Get some dry tissue. I'm just going to try and create
Our
some
time
texture.
is up. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Truth is I'm tired of lying. I've been trying. What went wrong? Or was it wrong all along? Truth is I'm tired of lying. I've been trying. You ain't going. I'm moving on. Truth is I'm tired of lying to myself. I've been trying to figure out what went wrong.
We're virtually there. It's the last step, and we're going to be using the squeegee. And what I want to achieve with the squeegee, I'm going to put some white paint along the squeegee, and I'm going to run some lines up this side in white. This side I'm going to do in sort of a dark grey colour as well, and then I think that will be the final touch. I'm just literally applying paint to the end of the squeegee. That was a bit of a long painting. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I've got paint on my hands, and that means one thing: I've had a great time, and I had a great time painting this one. I'm slowly starting to learn about the different sort of tones and how you need those tones to sort of match to create something like this, as abstract as this. The lines at the end, I think, really do make this piece work as well. So especially with the contrast with the black this side and the white that side. So yeah, let me step aside so you can have a look. If you like the type of art that I'm painting, please feel free to subscribe, hit that bell notification. So every single Wednesday I release a video of that week's painting. This is this week's. Please give this one either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That way I can sort of tell who's liking it and who isn't. And place your comments down below what you think of this piece. If you think I should have stopped sooner, if I should have introduced another colour, I'd love to read your comments down below. But yeah, you can do this yourself. It didn't really take that long. It did take quite a while. And it wasn't really that hard. I just sort of had a vision in my head with the angled lines coming down and then just playing about with the colours, getting those tones correct. So when you sort of step back, it starts to look like an overall painting. Whereas in the beginning, my lines were sort of too thin, too harsh, and it didn't have that sort of abstract feel to it. But yeah, overall, really happy with this. You can do this at home. With that being said, have a great week, and I'll catch you in next week's Flowworks video.
Running that shit, running that shit, running that shit. Running that shit, running that. Running that shit, running that shit.